Greetings all, it's the Devious Monkey here, and I'm coming back at you from Neptune Park on the boardwalk in Virginia Beach. Say hello to King Neptune. So I come down here on a regular basis when things get a little bit hectic and stressful. I have to say that there's nothing quite as calming as the beach. And I don't mean going to the beach and laying out, because I think that's boring as shit. I'm talking about just coming down here, looking at the ocean, smelling and feeling the breeze, hearing hearing the waves hit, the shore. Most of the times when you're down here, everybody's in a good mood, since most of them are either on vacation or they're not working, and they're happy to be lounging around at the beach. Today it's incredibly chilly though. It's in the 30s. And I don't know if you can hear the wind blowing, but it is blowing, and my hand is frozen because I forgot to bring my gloves, not realizing that I'd be sitting in the shade and that the wind is always like blowing harder here than anywhere else in the city. So anyways, I just wanted to come down here and show you one of my favorite spots and where I go to ground myself and to sort of get away from the, not sitting in the office, not doing work. I don't answer the phone when I'm down here. I don't check texts and all that kind of stuff. And I think that that's very important. That is one of the things that I didn't do. Like I told you, I worked for a gigantic asshole and I was stressed to the max. I was literally putting in like 14-hour plus days. I was on the road 4 out of 5 days of the week. And in even, getting to the hotels at night, you were expected to work, and, it was really tough. And I neglected my own health. And I suffered greatly for it. I gained a lot of weight. I have a lot of problems with my spine. I know I've mentioned this before in the past, but if you didn't know it, I'm telling you now, I'm a disabled veteran. I have an angry spine. And I'm pretty much always in pain. Most of the time I can deal with it. Sometimes it's so bad I can't deal with it, and that's when you don't poke the angry monkey. And I'm miserable, and I sort of seclude myself, and I deal with it until I can get it to go away. I'm always at the chiropractor, I'm always getting massaged, I'm always stretching, I'm always cracking my neck and all that kind of crap. So, kind of sucks, but, all that's just sort of added on to it. I also had gotten pneumonia the first year. I made it to bronchitis the second year before I was smart enough to go in that time. And, so in general, things were really bad. I was not taking time to smell the roses. I was not relaxing at all. I was stressful, neglectful, and life was pretty shit. So I made it a point once I switched teams to try to get a little bit better, and even then things were so crazy that I don't know. I gave myself an attitude adjustment back in July, right before I decided to seek my passion of photography and videography again. See how that all works out? Once I gave myself the attitude adjustment and realized that the problem wasn't always the externals coming into me, it was me in the way that I interpreted the externals, then things turned around. And that's when I got my passion back. That's when I started to hardcore lose the weight. Of course, I gained it all back over Thanksgiving and Christmas because I ate freaking gingerbread loaf every day from Starbucks and cookies and blah. So working on that again. I've already shed some of that weight back off, and I'm feeling much better. But the point being is that I'm now aware of the fact of how damaging I can be to myself, and I try to keep my internal dialogue a little bit more positive, and I make sure I get out, stop and smell the damn roses, or in my case, stop and smell the beach, because I love the beach. As you can see, I pretty much have the beach to myself today, huh? How about that? Probably because it's so freaking cold out here. I'm gonna walk up here so you can hear the waves lap and watch them, and in the meantime, my hands are probably gonna break off because the wind is like ice cold. But hey, at least I'm not in Chicago, right? So that's why I come here. I'm leaving here to go to my second favorite spot, which is Three Ships Coffee. I'm there all the time, and usually over drinking coffee, but now I've started to switch to tea to be a little bit better on myself. Hey, why don't we go to Three Ships and have some tea? So this is Three Ships Coffee. I come here on a regular basis. Not necessarily daily, but I'm probably here at least 2 to 3 times a week, depending on when I'm on the road. This is where I come to, I don't know, to sort of get away from my office. You can only spend so much time there, and I've been guilty of spending hours sitting in my office, you know, not even necessarily doing work. I hate the word man cave, or the term man cave. It isn't a man cave. It's just where I have all my stuff, where I get stuff done. So I have it set up for, you know, my day job work, so that I can get everything done. But I also have all of my photo and video equipment set up there, so that's where I film, and that's where I do everything that I do. So again, sometimes you get a little bit of a cabin fever, and I spend too much time there, and I just, you know, I need to get away. So if it's decent, you know, it's not pouring down rain, it's nice, whatever, you know, I go hit the boardwalk and sort of catch up on the waves. But a lot of times I come here to Three Ships and drink a shit ton of caffeine and do what I do. Sometimes I just come here and I watch YouTube videos because it's just a different scenery. You know, one of the things that I talked about was the fact that I'm on the road all the time, so I don't really establish a lot of human-to-human contact, friendship type things. But at least if I come here, you know, I mean, I'm around other people. Sometimes it can be very welcoming, just to be around other people and not driving in my car and talking to myself and scream singing and so on and so forth. So anyways, so yeah, now I'm going to go and get some tea. My hands finally thawed on the way here, and I'm going to have some tea and hang out for a little bit before I go to the library and take my wife some coffee. So this is where I like to be. It's a gorgeous day out, and yeah, so Three Ships Coffee. If you're ever in Virginia Beach, you got to come here. It's awesome. Okay, so I wanted to sort of wind up this video with an interesting story. I shot the stuff earlier, and I talked about how I got out of the office just to get out of the office, be around other people, so on and so forth. Then, when I went into Three Ships, I actually was sitting there watching YouTube videos, and a woman a couple of seats down interrupted me and asked me about my internet connection. Sometimes the internet connection there sucks. So I was explaining to her how the internet sucks, and that a lot of times I end up just shutting off the Wi-Fi on my devices and using cellular. So since she didn't have the ability to do that, she was working on a laptop, I used one of my phones to give her a hotspot while I was sitting there for half an hour. And we chit-chatted for a little while, and that was basically the whole point of me going there. And why I do that, because sometimes you get to interact with other people, and she was saying how she liked to go there because she needed to get out of her office at home, and sometimes it was just nice to go out and be around other people. So, see, that's why I do that. It's what you have to do when you're self-employed, because you can only sit at home for so long. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, as I was going through and looking at all the footage, and I'm reshooting this right now because manual focus is very difficult, and I'm trying to use the app on my smartphone, and it wasn't quite focusing me. So right now I think I'm in focus, and I'm not moving, and I might look a little stilted, but because when I did it before, and I'm doing the same thing I did before, the focus was horrible. It wasn't focused on my face at all, even though it said that it was. So I'm going to have to figure this out. But I wasn't going to make you watch that out of focus stuff. I couldn't do that. But the other thing that I was thinking about was how to end my videos. I noticed that I sort of stammer as I've been shooting because I can't figure out what to do. There's a couple of things that a lot of people do, and it drives me crazy. One of them is the whole, okay, bye, and then throwing their palm into the screen, or I mean into the lens. Or the other thing that always bothers me is when they say, I'll see you in the next one. So many people say that, and I'm not going to see you. I'm going to see my lens. So, you know, I know that sort of my mantra is forward and up, meaning I'm continually trying to move forward and up. I don't ever want to go backwards. I mean, it happens sometimes, but that's not my goal. My goal is to move forward and up. So I usually say, you know, all right, thanks for joining me, and remember, forward and up. and then I sort of stammered, feeling like I should have said something else because it just felt like I was ending things too abruptly. But I can't come up with anything that isn't cliche or whatever. So whatever. So, I haven't added all the, hit subscribe and ding the bell and all that shit. I'm not at that point yet. I just hope you guys are watching and you can deal with me ranting. So, all that said, I'm just going to say thanks for joining me, and remember, forward and up.